Welcome back to episode 4 of my marathon training series. I'm Chelsea and I have been training to run a marathon on March 2nd, 2025 since the last week of August 2024. So this episode is a little different. I have a bit of a different background here, but it's really an update episode that I'm kind of just going off the cuff. This series in general has been me making reflections between my marathon training and my creative practice and budding creative practice. But admittedly, this episode is a little different because I haven't really thought of a parallel necessarily. So maybe one will come to me, but basically my marathon training has been a bit derailed. In the last episode, I'm pretty sure that I mentioned that after my 20-mile run that I ran on December 14th, I started to experience a little bit of soreness in my upper right calf. I felt a little tinge in my right calf, and I kind of attributed the soreness that I was feeling to that long run. So I took a 5-day break initially, went back out after 5 days or maybe on the 5th day and did like an easy run, and then still kind of felt it, I think, at the time. And so I was like, okay, let me take a longer break. And then this was also Christmas, New Year's. So it was kind of basically took a holiday from running during that time period. So I didn't run again for another 10 days, I think. So it was kind of a total of 2 weeks that I kind of took off, not consecutively, but basically. Following that, I started back into my regular training. I was fine that whole week. Again, most of my runs during the week, and which is natural with running, is that they were easy recovery runs. And then my long run, so my first attempt at a long run, Sunday before last, can't remember the date off the top of my head, but it was only a 2-hour long run. So nothing close to the 20-mile run. That was my previous long run. I ran about 8.5 miles, and the next 2 days I did not feel comfortable running with the discomfort that I was feeling behind my right knee, upper calf. And then when the soreness really set in, it was really my lower hamstring and my hamstring in which I was feeling it. So kind of self-diagnosed myself in that time frame of like, maybe this is a hamstring issue. So didn't run that Wednesday, didn't run that Thursday, did an easy recovery run on Friday, and felt it for sure during the run. But the weird thing about it is, and again, I self-diagnosed myself as having lower hamstring tendonitis, but when I'm running, it's not a discomfort that's painful. It's just a discomfort or a sensation. It doesn't feel great, but it feels like something. But it's not bad enough, or it hasn't been bad enough where I can't keep running. So that's where it was a little confusing. So this past Sunday, I decided to give it a try, because I had known that okay, I've experienced that additional soreness after the 8.5 miles, how I was still feeling it on the Friday run, even though I didn't feel it after that Friday run. It was, again, a 30-minute easy run. I was cautious, and I was just like, okay, we're going to go out and see how this is supposed to go. Today I ran just below 5 miles. So, and at that point I was like, yeah, I feel like I'm pushing it. Like, my knee is starting to feel weak and tired. So I'm really just going to lean in and listen to my body and not push myself any further. And so I stopped running at about 5 miles, and I had to walk back to my car because I didn't run the whole way. And it was almost a limp. Mentioned it to my family. They mentioned trying orthopedic doctor. So did some research into that. Saw a doctor, was able to get in same day with an orthopedic doctor who specialized in knee stuff and sports injuries. And so I saw them on Monday, the 13th. And honestly, my self-diagnosis and ChatGPT gave me a little bit more to work with. Did the x-ray, said everything looked great. Hello, Panda. And essentially what he said was what I was describing. He said he couldn't tell me that clinically, but like from what I was describing, it sounded like a hamstring strain, and the only thing that can really solve that is rest. And I did kind of explain like this started a month ago. I have been taking rest, been trying to like see, but it's persisted, and that's why I'm here. And he defined rest as 6 weeks, and the marathon is 6 weeks and a few days away. Obviously, not what I wanted to hear. Obviously, not what anyone wants to hear, especially since I've been training so much since the end of August and in the summer last year. I'd really set my sights, as you all know. And again, as I mentioned in episode 3, my number one only goal other than finishing this marathon is not injuring myself in the process. And unfortunately, it appears that I have indeed injured myself. So really this week I've just been trying to grapple with that, trying to find some where to surrender. Like I don't know how I feel about it yet. It's very clear to me that if I felt that way after running 8.5 miles and I had to stop after 5 miles and almost limp to my car, that I definitely can't at today, this week, run 26.2 miles without definitely hurting myself. If I even finish, which I don't think I'd be able to. That's clear to me. What's still unclear to me is, I did do all of this training. I've seen a few things that I've read regarding how much time that you're taking off in your training and how much aerobic fitness you lose in that time frame. Have not, skimmed a couple things, but really trying not to do a deep dive there because that'll discourage me. Not that I'm trying to ignore important factors, but that's just not really where I want my attention to be right now. So I've been taking rest. I've been icing. I have tried to sit down and kind of think about what I can do. To finish my earlier sentence, what's clear to me now is I can't run right now in the capacity that I've been running. And what's unclear to me right now is if I'll be able to run in the 6 weeks and some odd days at the marathon. If I don't train for 6 weeks, I don't feel comfortable just jumping out after 6 weeks of nothing and trying to run 26.2 miles. For one, I feel like I'd be afraid, I wouldn't even know how my body would react, right? I wouldn't even know, because I hadn't trained up until then, if when I run, I'm going to have the same experience again. So that's not an option. And the other side of things is, I'm kind of just trying to see what I can do. I did kind of watch some YouTube videos and things for people who are trying to rehabilitate and recover, specifically lower hamstring tendonitis, the importance of relative rest. I can't do nothing, that's not good for the body, the joints, all of that. So I, really trying to incorporate foam rolling more, doing hamstring strengthening exercises like bridges, hamstring curls, things like that. That's what I've seen in my personal research. Again, I feel like my self-diagnosis and personal research gave me more to work with than the doctor. Not that he was wrong. Clearly, rest is required, but I was like, can I do something else? So, my my camera phone storage was full. So, didn't record a lot of this. From where it looked like I left off, right now I'm pretty much just exploring what type of physical activity that I can do to potentially keep the aerobic fitness that I've built without putting so much strain on my hamstrings. So looking at swimming, for example, just trying to see what I can do in this time period while I have to take a rest from running because I don't want to injure myself even more. The other thing that I know that I wanted to end this video with is I was reminded when I started recording this about a goal that I had for this run that I had forgotten about, or this marathon training that I had forgotten about. And I actually mentioned it in, I think, the first episode of this series, which was that I started running a couple of years ago. I enjoy running, but I wasn't really at a stage with running where it was just something that I could do for fun or for like no reason. Like, I need a goal to anchor to sometimes in order to build a habit around something. And that's what this marathon training was also meant to do. And now that I've been on this forced rest, it's really made clear to me that I miss running. Like, it's been really lovely days, like still cold, but like upper 30s. And now that I do have some like warm or like cold weather running gear, it's like been beautiful, sunny, chilly days where I would have like, I've gone outside and I'm like, oh, this would be perfect to run in, and I'm resting, so I can't. So even though my initial goals were, not to injure myself and to finish the marathon, I did not anticipate for those two goals to potentially be at odds with each other. But one goal that I have been able to meet is just developing a love of running. And if I had to make some type of parallel to that with the creative practice, it's really that I began to fall in love with the process, just like I'm beginning to fall in love with the process of creating and just showing up and doing the best with what I have that day and just letting it out of me, letting it flow through me, whatever that may be, and not being so precious with it. Just like recording this video, I really hope that it's still recording right now, but I lost all that footage because my phone battery was full. It is what it is, but yeah, it's disappointing for sure, but we're gonna see how this all shakes out. So I just want to say thank you for clicking on this video. Thank you for watching episode 4. If you haven't seen the other episodes in this marathon training series, please check them out. I'll link the playlist below. If you have any encouraging words, any insight, if you're a runner and you've experienced injuries that have potentially derailed your plans, race plans in particular, I would love to hear your story. But just want to thank you all for being here, and I'll catch you in the next episode. Bye.